God says, "Listen closely, my beloved soul, because this moment did not reach you by accident." Before your eyes landed on these words, before your heart felt that quiet pause, heaven already knew this meeting would happen. Out of countless voices, countless distractions, countless paths you could have taken, you arrived here. That alone tells you something important. This message does not chase everyone. It waits only for those whose spirit is ready to receive it. There are moments in life when nothing looks dramatic on the outside, yet everything is shifting on the inside. This is one of those moments. You may feel calm, curious, or even unsure why you stayed, but deep within you, something recognized this call. God does not speak loudly to impress, He speaks gently to awaken. And right now, He is speaking directly to the part of you that has been waiting for reassurance, clarity, and peace. Only a few will stay for this message, not because it is hidden, but because not everyone listens with their heart. Many will pass by without noticing the weight of what is being offered. But you are still here. That means your soul is listening even if your mind is still catching up. This is not about being special in the eyes of the world. It is about being attentive in the eyes of heaven. God says He has watched you walk through seasons that tested your patience and your faith. There were days when you did everything right and still felt unseen. Nights when you questioned whether your quiet efforts mattered. Moments when you wondered if anyone truly understood the weight you were carrying. God saw all of it. Not one moment was missed. Not one silent prayer fell away unnoticed. What you are entering now is not a sudden reward, but a gentle unfolding. Things may not change all at once, yet they will begin to align in ways that feel lighter, clearer, and more peaceful. Conversations will start to make sense. Decisions will feel less heavy. The confusion that once surrounded. You will slowly give way to understanding. This is how God moves, not with chaos, but with order and purpose. You were meant to see this because your heart has reached a point of readiness. Not perfection. Readiness. Ready to trust again. Ready to release what no longer serves your peace. Ready to receive without fear. God is not asking you to rush or to prove anything. He is inviting you to rest in the knowledge that you are guided, supported, and never alone. There is something powerful about choosing to stay present. About choosing not to ignore the quiet nudge that says, "Pay attention." This message is not here to overwhelm you. It is here to remind you that your life is not random, your journey is not wasted, and your future is not empty. Even the delays had meaning. Even the silence carried instruction. God says the next chapter of your life will feel different, not because everything outside changes, but because something inside settles. You will move with more confidence, speak with more clarity, and choose with more peace. What once drained you will slowly lose its grip. What once confused you will begin to resolve itself naturally. If you are still here, take this as confirmation. You were meant to see this. You were meant to pause. You were meant to listen. And you were meant to remember that faith is not always loud, sometimes it is simply staying when others leave. Take a deep breath. Let this moment ground you. Carry this message with you as you move forward, knowing that you are seen, valued, and guided in ways you may not always understand, but can always trust. God says, "My beloved soul, remain still for a moment longer, because what I am unfolding now cannot be understood in haste." The world trains you to rush, to skim, to move on quickly, but heaven speaks in layers, and each layer reveals itself only to a listening heart. If you are still here, it is because your spirit understands that some truths are not meant to be consumed quickly, but absorbed slowly, like light entering a dark room. There are seasons when I speak through silence, and seasons when I speak through recognition. This is a season of recognition for you. You are beginning to notice patterns you once ignored, feelings you once dismissed, and truths you once postponed. This is not confusion, this is awareness. Awareness is the doorway to peace, and peace is the foundation for everything I am building in your life. You have carried questions that had no immediate answers, and I allowed that, not to frustrate you, but to strengthen you. Answers given too early can be misunderstood. Answers given at the right time become wisdom. Now, your heart is mature enough to receive clarity without fear, and strength without pride. This is why this message reached you now and not before. I see the quiet ways you try to do right even when no one is watching. I see the restraint you practice when reacting would be easier. I see the patience you show when walking away would feel justified. These choices have shaped your spirit more than you realize. You may not have seen instant results, but heaven records consistency, not noise. What is steady always outlasts what is loud. There is a misconception that divine movement must feel dramatic. Often, it does not. Most of the time, it feels like calm replacing chaos, clarity replacing confusion, and courage replacing hesitation. That is what is happening within you now. You are not being pushed forward, you are being aligned. Alignment does not shout. It settles. You are entering a phase where discernment will guide you more than emotion. Things that once drained you will no longer attract you. Conversations that once felt necessary will feel optional. This is not loss, this is refinement. When something no longer fits your spirit, it quietly releases itself. You are not losing pieces of yourself, you are returning to who you were meant to be. God says there are connections in your life that will naturally deepen, and others that will naturally fade. Do not fight either process. Growth requires space, and space is created by letting go of what no longer nourishes you. This is not abandonment, this is balance. Everything that truly belongs with you will find a way to remain without force. I know you sometimes question whether your efforts matter because they are unseen. But heaven measures impact differently than the world. The world celebrates visibility, heaven honors integrity. What you do when no one is watching has prepared you for what will happen when it finally matters. And it will matter. You may notice that your inner voice has become calmer lately. That is not coincidence. That is trust forming. When you trust, you no longer need to control every outcome. You move with confidence instead of urgency. You act with intention instead of reaction. This shift will protect your peace more than any external change ever could. God says I am not rushing your journey because what is being built is meant to last. Temporary things arrive quickly and leave just as fast. What is meant to stay is introduced gently. The patience you are learning now will soon make sense. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to receive what comes next without fear. Let this truth settle into you: you do not need to chase purpose. Purpose recognizes readiness. You do not need to prove worth, worth exists. You do not need to demand clarity, clarity arrives when the heart is quiet enough to hear it. This message is not here to pressure you into belief. It is here to remind you of what you already know deep down. Remain open. Remain grounded. Remain present. The next steps will reveal themselves not through force, but through alignment. You will know what to do when the time comes, because peace will confirm it before logic does. God says, stay with me a little longer. This unfolding is not finished yet. God says, my beloved, as you remain here, something within you is already settling into place. This is not excitement, and it is not fear. It is recognition. Recognition is the soul remembering what it always knew but forgot while surviving. You have spent a long time adapting to circumstances, adjusting to expectations, and carrying responsibilities that shaped your outer life. Now, your inner life is beginning to rise to the surface, asking to be acknowledged, respected, and finally heard. There are moments in life when nothing dramatic changes on the outside, yet everything changes on the inside. This is one of those moments. Your perspective is quietly shifting. The things that once felt overwhelming are beginning to feel manageable, not because they disappeared, but because you have grown beyond the version of yourself that felt powerless around them. Strength does not always announce itself. Sometimes it simply shows up as calm where panic once lived. God says you are learning the difference between solitude and loneliness. Solitude restores you, loneliness drains you. You are becoming comfortable being present with yourself, and this is an important transition. When you stop fearing your own thoughts, you stop needing constant distraction. From this place of stillness, clarity begins to form naturally. You are no longer asking, "Why is this happening to me?" but quietly understanding, "This is shaping me." You have been carrying emotions that were never fully expressed, not because you did not feel them, but because you did not always feel safe to release them. That is changing now. Emotional maturity is not about feeling less, it is about understanding more. You are starting to respond instead of react, to observe instead of absorb, and to choose peace without guilt. This shift will protect your future more than you realize. God says, do not underestimate the power of consistency. You have shown up in ways that felt small at the time, but small acts done repeatedly create foundations that cannot be shaken. The world celebrates sudden success, but heaven honors steady faithfulness. What you are building is not fragile. It is rooted. And what is rooted may take longer to grow, but it stands longer when storms come. You may notice that your intuition feels sharper now. This is because you are listening instead of forcing. When you stop arguing with your inner knowing, guidance becomes clearer. You are beginning to sense when something aligns with you and when it quietly does not. This awareness will save you from unnecessary detours. Trust it. Discernment is not judgment, it is wisdom. God says there are truths you no longer need to explain to anyone. When something is real, it does not need constant defense. You are learning that peace does not require agreement from others. It only requires honesty with yourself. As you let go of the need to convince, you gain the freedom to simply be. This freedom will open doors that effort alone never could. You are also learning that timing is not punishment. Delays have taught you patience, depth, and resilience. What arrives too early can overwhelm. What arrives at the right moment feels natural. You are being prepared to receive without fear and to hold without anxiety. This is why things unfolded the way they did. Nothing was wasted. God says your heart is becoming quieter, not empty. Quiet hearts hear clearly. In this quiet, you will notice subtle guidance, gentle nudges rather than loud instructions. Pay attention to what brings you calm, not just what excites you. Calm is often the sign of alignment. Excitement fades, peace stays. You are stepping into a season where you will value meaning over appearance. Shallow validation will no longer satisfy you. You are seeking substance, sincerity, and stability. This is a sign of inner growth. When your standards rise, your life reorganizes itself around them. What cannot meet those standards will slowly fall away without conflict. God says let go of the belief that you must struggle to deserve good things. Struggle was a chapter, not the whole story. Ease does not mean laziness, it means alignment. When things begin to flow more smoothly, allow it. You are not doing something wrong by receiving without resistance. You are simply ready. There is a quiet confidence forming within you now. It is not arrogance, and it is not insecurity. It is self-trust. You are beginning to trust your decisions, your pace, and your path. This trust will guide you more accurately than external advice ever could. Others may not understand your choices, but you are not living to be understood by everyone. You are living to be true to yourself. God says remain patient with your unfolding. Growth does not always look productive, but it is always purposeful. You do not need to rush this process. You are not behind. You are becoming. And becoming takes time. Stay present. Stay grounded. What is aligning now will soon become visible, but even before it does, know this: you are already changing in ways that matter. This is not the end of the message. There is still more to unfold, God says, my beloved. As you reach this point, understand this truth with clarity and calm. You did not arrive here by effort alone, and you are not staying here by chance. There is a reason your attention did not drift, a reason your heart stayed open, and a reason something within you kept listening even when your mind tried to move on. This is alignment. When the soul recognizes truth, it does not rush away from it. You are entering a phase where your inner world becomes more stable than your outer circumstances. This stability is powerful. When your center is steady, external noise loses control over you. You begin to respond thoughtfully. instead of reacting emotionally. This is where maturity quietly forms, and with it comes a deeper sense of authority over your own life. Not dominance over others, but clarity over yourself. God says many people confuse peace with passivity, but peace is not weakness. Peace is strength that does not need to prove itself. You are learning to stand firm without raising your voice, to walk away without resentment, and to choose what nourishes you without apology. These are not small changes. These are life-shaping shifts that will influence every decision you make from here forward. There will be moments ahead when you realize you are no longer drawn to things that once consumed your energy. This is not loss, it is refinement. When the soul grows, it naturally releases what no longer resonates. You are not becoming distant, you are becoming selective. This discernment will protect your time, your emotional space, and your future relationships. God says trust the quiet confidence rising within you. Confidence does not always feel loud or dramatic. Sometimes it feels like calm certainty. You no longer need constant reassurance, because you are beginning to trust your own judgment. This self-trust will guide you more accurately than external validation ever could. When you trust yourself, confusion loses its grip. You may notice that certain conversations feel unnecessary now. Certain arguments feel unimportant. Certain explanations feel exhausting. This is because your spirit is learning that not everything deserves engagement. Peace is preserved by choosing where to place your energy. You are not here to convince everyone. You are here to live aligned. God says patience is no longer just something you practice, it is something you embody. You have learned to wait without bitterness, to pause without panic, and to trust timing without anxiety. This patience will reward you in ways you cannot yet predict. What arrives next will feel earned, not forced. There is also healing happening in subtle layers. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, but steady and real. Old disappointments are losing their emotional charge. Past misunderstandings are no longer shaping your identity. You are not defined by what didn't work, you are defined by what you learned. Wisdom grows where pain once lived. God says remember this, clarity often comes before visible change. Just because you cannot see the full outcome yet does not mean nothing is happening. Foundations are being reinforced beneath the surface. Decisions you make now, even small ones, will echo positively in the future. Trust the process that is unfolding quietly. You are also stepping into a season where gratitude becomes natural rather than forced. You are noticing small blessings without needing them to be perfect. Gratitude shifts perspective, and perspective shapes experience. As your awareness deepens, so does your sense of fulfillment. Fulfillment is not having everything, it is appreciating what truly matters. God says you are allowed to rest without guilt. Rest is not avoidance, it is restoration. When you honor your need for balance, you sustain your strength. Burnout does not produce wisdom. Presence does. Take care of your inner world, and your outer world will respond accordingly. As you move forward, you will notice that life begins to feel more intentional. You are no longer drifting from one reaction to another. You are choosing, shaping, and responding with awareness. This is personal authority. This is growth. This is readiness. God says the reason only a few stay for messages like this is not because others are less worthy, but because not everyone is prepared to listen deeply. You stayed because something in you is ready. Ready to grow, ready to understand, ready to move forward with clarity rather than confusion. This message was not meant to overwhelm you. It was meant to steady you. To remind you that you are not lost, you are not late, and you are not unseen. You are exactly where you need to be to become who you are meant to be. Hold this truth gently but firmly. Your life is not random, your growth is not accidental, and your presence here is not meaningless. What you carry forward from this moment will shape how you show up in the days ahead. Stay grounded. Stay honest. Stay present. You are becoming more than you were, and that is enough. If this message reached something real inside you, don't let it stop here. Like this video to acknowledge the moment. Comment what you felt, even one word is enough. Share it with someone who needs clarity right now. And subscribe to stay connected to messages meant for those who are ready to listen deeply.